Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Horror Friendly Podcast, part of the You Run Podcast Network. I think I forgot to say that last week. My name is Katie, and I am joined on Love Day with my love, Chantal.
Ah, wifey.
Hi, Chantal. Hi, my love.
Hi, Katie. My first one true. How are you?
Yeah, fuck you, partner.
Yeah. I haven't been around nearly as long. Like they don't
No,
get
exactly.
You put in the time.
Yeah, exactly. I grafted for years to become a wife.
Yeah, you deserve all the credit.
I deserve this ring.
Tolerating me for bullshit.
Absolutely not. I think it's the other way around, mate.
I think we've both had our moments. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you've known each other for longer than most marriages. So
yes, well, exactly. You know, it happens, and you have to work hard in a marriage. You know.
Yeah. We say this, we don't.
We haven't had to work very hard.
No, I feel like in the nicest way to ourselves, we are the laziest friendship because again, we aren't that close to each other, like distance wise.
Yeah,
we are hilarious. Well, we'll just like, have you seen those ones where it's like you need to make a PowerPoint when you haven't seen your friend in a while?
Yeah, these are all the things that have happened in my life.
So these are the new characters and these are the subplots. Like, it's so funny. I was like, yes, it's kind of how it happens, and then it's like over a bottle of wine or three.
And a Chinese, and we're caught up again, and it's fine.
Oh, yeah, your local Chinese is the best.
Oh yeah. But then since we've had this podcast, we've basically talked every single day, like even if it's just podcast related, like we still talk
like that's
all the time, which is what makes it really nice.
We did talk a lot anyway, and now it is like constant.
Yeah,
and it's so funny because as soon as we finish recording, we're like, I'll talk to you in a bit, and it's like
yeah, I'll probably talk to you in like 5 minutes, something to do with the podcast.
So basically what we're saying is me and Katie love each other more than you love your partner. So
yes, so remember that on Valentine's Day, guys.
Your love is not true enough. Do better, try harder. It should be as easy as Katie and me.
It should be, yeah. So just saying, you know, if you want something to look up to,
I mean, this is it. This is really it. Katie even told me I look pretty today, which is a lie, and that's how you do it.
You said it first.
Yeah, but you actually do look nice. Yeah.
You look wonderful, darling.
No.
Anyway,
I'm just trying to turn my volume because you're a bit quiet. So every time I do it seems to like, it's not you, it's me.
It's not.
It's
see, another line. See?
No, I've got my headphones turned down for some reason, so I'm just going to turn you up so I can actually hear. There we go.
Wonderful.
Okay, well, now we've made everyone jealous. Are we ready to cover this week's film?
I'm so ready. I was born ready.
Hell yeah. Okay, so we are going to cover the 2001 Valentine, the horror mystery. So on Valentine's Day in 1988, Jeremy, a geeky boy, is falsely accused by a girl of attacking her and trashed by others. In 2001, the girl is part of a group that begins to lose its members to a killer. Dun, dun, dun. Do we think they're possibly connected? And this is
I don't know.
It's directed by Jamie Blanks, which I think is relevant to the killer's name, no? Oh, no, wait, it was JM, not JB. Never mind.
Well,
I was like, did he choose his own initials? Because I feel like I'd have done that, to be fair.
Yeah, it definitely should have done that. That would have been kind of like clever and fun and very slashery.
That was me like thinking this was way smarter than it was immediately. First time watching, yes. I've wanted to, this has been on my watch list for a while. I've wanted to watch it. I think I just remember like the cover of it and Denise Richards being on the cover, the girl that plays Paige. I think it's kind of in that Urban Legends. There's a slasher called Urban Legends, which was made similarly around this time. So, and I really enjoyed that. So I thought, oh, like maybe I'll enjoy this too. But yeah, first time watching. What about you? Yes, and again, because we wanted to do one for Valentine's, we've done My Bloody Valentine in the past. So I was like, oh, what can we do? I looked it up and I was like, the cover's quite intriguing. Like, I like that it's got the writing on it. I like that it's that mask. I thought it was a little bit V for Vendetta.
So I was like, fuck it, let's give it a go. It's got quite a few names in it, like quite a few recognizable faces. And then there's like Katherine Heigl in it, who dies very quickly. So again, we will contain spoilers. But I didn't know, because this was 2001, if they were trying to do a Scream thing and like get a big name in and kill him off straight away. Or was Katherine Heigl not a big name at the time? I'm generally trying to remember, because like now she's quite well known.
Yeah, wasn't she in Grey's Anatomy or something, or she was in a big TV show, but I don't know if this was before or after. I think apparently she only had a few days to film her scene for this film. So I think maybe, well, she obviously had other like projects she was working on. So I guess assume she was like relatively well known.
So she was on Roswell from 1990 to 2002. So I wonder if that was her timeline. Sorry, whatever, her time commitment. But you're right, yeah, she was very famous from Grey's Anatomy, but she was also on like 27 Dresses, The Ugly Truth, Knocked Up. Like she does a lot of rom-coms, which again now. So when I was looking back, I was like, oh, of course Katherine Heigl's in a horror rom-com. I'm forgetting that actually this would have been way before like her rom-com kind of time. Because you do look some of her older stuff and it's all a bit like, your typical like The Tempest, Bride of Chucky she was Jade. So it is kind of like that as you're building up. But yeah, so I was like looking back, I was like, I don't know if that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah,
I don't think she was a household name at the time. I think it's just when you look back now, you're like, oh, it's Katherine Heigl, of course. But she is one of the names on the cover. So I was like, maybe she was a big, I don't know. Somebody who remembers films in 2001. Like, let us know.
Let us know. Yeah, I don't know, because you're right. Like when Scream 3 came out, Jada Pinkett was like on the front of the cover, and she dies at the beginning. So yeah, you're right. It could have been one of those situations. But yeah, if anyone actually knows, that would be handy. But I recognized her instantly. So it was funny. It did kind of bring back those Scream vibes where I was like, oh, I know you.
I know you.
Are you about to die?
Yeah. I did like her scene though. I liked that as an opening. Again, it did feel very Scream-esque, where it was like, but again, it felt so stupid where she was on a date, and I was like, as much as this film feels a bit dated, it's still the same shit when you go on a date and have to deal with men talking at you. Talking absolute crap. I really do hope that when men are like, oh, it's not all men, and then they watch a film like this, they can see how ridiculous it is, and we're like, we know it's not all men.
It's simple, really, Shelley. You see, from an evolutionary point of view, Jason looks for an attractive young woman because he wants healthy children. And a young woman, like yourself, looks for a successful man, like Jason, because she wants to feel safe.
But can you see what we deal with on the regular? Like, because would you want to date him? Like...
Yeah, no, it hasn't really changed, has it?
No, and it's insane. You're like, what? Like, it didn't work then, it's not gonna work now. Anyway, so I like, and again, I like that he then kind of got all shitty that, oh, we're not sharing the check or whatever, and it's like, did you really think this was going well? No, actually, she got a bit funny about not sharing the check, and I was like, I mean, you're the one kind of, anyway, I was like, no, because you're not into it. So anyway, that's a whole other debate. But then she goes back to school and she's like, oh, I'm not a doctor yet, but I'm allowed to work in the autopsy room on my own in the middle of the night. I was like, that feels wrong. Where are the professors? Why is this not like in the middle of the day? Who's letting students do this in the middle of the night?
Yeah, valid question, mate. Valid question. I have no idea.
No.
That was so weird to me.
That's such a slasher setup of, you're in a scenario that would never really happen.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great I know what you mean. It was a great location to set up like the first kill scene in a slasher film. Like, it's quite a good idea. And I quite like the idea of the body bags. Like, it was a bit silly, but it was kind of fun. You wondered whether, is she actually going to be in the body bags? Is she hidden somewhere else? So that was quite fun, I thought.
Well, because as well with the drip tray, I actually wondered, again, because I was like, oh, she's quite a big name. Is she going to survive this? I actually wondered if she'd like faked it somehow. Like, so obviously, like he opened it and slit her throat, so you saw it. But I was like, if she was going to have like a blood bag or something, so when he stabbed, he'd think she died. So So I was like, oh no, she's dead. But I liked the bit when she had the cadaver and she covered his face, and then when she came back and it started to breathe. Like that, I was like, that's actually pretty good, because the old switcheroo.
Yeah.
Because that would scare the shit out of you if you were about to do an autopsy and suddenly they were alive.
It's true, it would. I'd find it hard to sort of see how the killer could suddenly change clothes,
Yeah.
lie down, do all of that in that very small space of time. But yeah, like it was quite a fun little gag to sort of see him breathing. But yeah, I mean, he must be fucking an Olympic runner or something.
He's actually just got like Velcro full Monty clothes.
They put Velcro down the side and then
Either that or he was just under there fully dressed, but just with his jumper like pulled over his head.
Quick!
I didn't even think about that. They'd have had to get redressed. That actually didn't even occur to me.
You'd be like, wait, I'm coming.
So I'm coming. Fuck, shit, my mask. Now she can't see who I am. Like, this is I love slashers, but they have the story sometimes is so shit. Like, that wouldn't happen. She wouldn't be there in the first place. He'd have been there first thing in the morning, like waiting all night, butt naked, and then he'd be like, "Right, can you now just wait 10 minutes for me to get dressed?"
Can you just wait there a minute? That'd be really helpful to me.
I didn't even think about the fact you had to get dressed. That's too good. Amazing.
Oh dear. But yeah, but you know, he did, and he was successful. He killed her.
How?
See? I love how you changed your mind instantly. You're like, oh, that's actually quite a cool kill, and then I slacked it off.
No, but you're completely right. Like, although I think that's how she got in the body bag and like zipped up. Because again, how does she zip up her own body bag? Because funny enough, the zip's not in the inside because the cadaver can't do it to themselves. Yeah. But it's because he had 20 minutes trying to get fucking dressed again.
Well, yeah, she had time to be like,
slow and steady, slow and steady, slow and steady.
I just keep thinking of the full Monty thing.
Did you not know that's how they do cadavered bags now? Just Velcro like full Monty rip-off.
Woohoo!
Oh God. Okay, can we please, any horror writers out there, can we please have a full Monty killer?
I mean, they didn't quite have it, but the same sort of running themes with Members Club. So we need that, but like an actual killer.
Yeah, that, but the reverse. Like,
definitely.
It's just like, can you imagine like if it was Ghostface? Because every time Ghostface trips all the fucking time. Like,
yeah, he's clumsy.
He'd trip on his own dress and rip it off and be like, ooh. Da, da, da. But I mean, people might pay extra for just the mask, right?
That's true. I mean, yeah, Ghostface is clumsy and he falls, and that is like kind of part of what makes him good. But yeah, the Velcro thing, there needs to be a new killer, Velcro Man.
You can leave your mask on. I love when we can't move past this opening scene, which is like, it's perfect. Stop the movie there. That bit was perfect.
Well, John from New England Home of Horror, he makes films, so maybe that's an inspiration for him.
Yeah. John, help us out. We did skip over the other kind of opening, which is all the kids at school. Like, I found that actually kind of hard because one, I was like, the girls are being fucking horrible, but I was also like, the guy like needs to take no for an answer and stop asking every girl.
Yeah.
But it's hard because again, it's that age where it's like you're learning kind of social norms, and it's like, stop.
Yes. Yeah, you're kind of learning boundaries and like what you sort of can and can't do.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very 90s, wasn't it? Like the opening where like, you know, there would be one of the characters and then you would see what they look like now in the yearbook. So it was quite helpful, I guess. It kind of made you realize who were the nasty ones, who was the nice one. And obviously the final girl's going to be the nice one.
Obviously.
Kate. But yeah, I quite like that. It was very like old school and very like, you know, it made you understand the premise of the film, I guess, like when you could see the older versions of them. But
yeah, I think as well I think we've said it before with other films where like it explains that friendship group where like they've grown up together. So as adults, you may not put them together, but because they've known each other so long, they have that kind of like background. So that's kind of where they hang out. And it's like, okay, so it kind of makes sense. But they're all in their 20s. And I actually kind of love the Valentine's cards. Like, you see it these days where like you have some Valentine's cards with like a bit of a darker horror twist for people like us who kind of love it. So I was kind of into them. I was like, some of these are kind of funny, but not the maggot chocolates. That can fuck off.
Yeah, the maggot chocolates not so much, but I thought like the card was really pretty and like I like them.
Yeah,
I like them.
I like it. We, as I say, every year we love and share and like some fucking stupid post about, I can't even think. There's always like, oh, the man of your dreams for Freddy Krueger. Mummy's boy for Jason. Like, do you know what I mean? It's always like so
absolutely.
I bet for it.
I bet there's something on Etsy that's like a Valentine 2001 themed Valentine's card. Like there's got to be something out there.
I mean, there was work put into them because they like had popping up and down bits and everything. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Some real arts and crafts.
Yeah. Cherub guy, I mean, not only does he Velcro himself out of things, but he also just, you know, knows how to make cards.
In his homemade full Monty. It's so bad. I didn't realize that was a cherub mask until like I read it.
Yeah, that's not bad, is it? I don't think you would instantly know that.
I was a bit confused, like why it was a chubby babyish face, but did not even occur to me that obviously it's a cherub for Valentine's.
Yeah.
No, completely lost on me. We just don't have like that kind of imagery, I guess, over here.
No, we don't. I think, to be fair, I think Valentine's Day, especially back then, was probably like way more of an American thing.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think we would have instantly noticed that or like recognized that really.
Yeah, the English aren't really known as a romantic country. Like that's kind of Paris. France kind of have that. Like, you know, England are kind of like, we're known for other things that we're probably not proud of. And it's why the rest of the world hate us.
Yeah, we're not really that. It was only up until like a fair few years ago that everyone started getting into Halloween like here. So I think it's not, you wouldn't easily recognize one of those cherub things because I don't think Valentine's isn't a huge thing over here.
No.
So, but yeah. What did you think of the mask? Did you find it scary? Did you find it no?
Like I think if someone was trying to kill me, and they were running at me in a baby face mask, like I'd be like confused. I wouldn't like the knife would be scary over the baby mask. Like I don't find babies that scary, funny enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing I found maybe a bit creepy was when he obviously has a nosebleed at the end of every kill.
Yeah,
which apparently Jamie Blanks took from inspiration from another horror film that he watched. But I mean, I guess I found that relatively scary. And then it obviously sets you up for the killer being Jeremy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I did kind of like that because obviously it tied it back to the beginning. And then obviously at the very end, sorry, jumping back and forth, when he's trying to pin it on
Dorothy.
Thank you. When he's trying to pin it on Dorothy, it's like, well, she doesn't bleed. And then obviously during the hug, you see, and that was not a little one at the end either. I was like, hasn't this guy been locked up and in hospitals half his life? How has no one sorted out his nosebleeds? Like, these are not good.
Yeah, I have thoughts on that ending. I really do.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
It was just to compare, but I was like, that was a bad fucking nosebleed. But he also only gets them when he murders. I'm like, well, that's a little bit inconvenient for you, leaving blood at the scene.
I guess he had them when he was a little boy.
True. I wonder as well because he got beaten up. Again, those other fucking lads who were like, oh, what are they called? They were really horrible because they were like, had called them something.
Thick and thin, getting it on.
Little and large or something. They were just being mean kids.
They were horrible.
Yeah. And then as soon as she's like, oh no, he forced himself, which is fucked up anyway. And then they all of a sudden became her protectors. I'm like, you were bullying her 3 seconds ago. Like it was just any excuse to beat someone up. And I wondered if like the beating kind of caused him to have more nosebleeds. Like if they damaged something, maybe. I don't
Maybe.
know.
Yeah. What did you think of like the other girls, like Paige, who obviously Dorothy says at the end is the sexy one, like Kate's the nice one. You know, they all have a certain trait to them.
I think Paige was quite funny. I think because again, it was one of those where she was typically, when you look at our like like a slash of the five group, but there's normally guys involved, and it's like, oh, the jock, the this, the that, and it's like, oh, she's the whore. I said, but she wasn't, because whenever someone tried to take advantage, she really fucking put her foot down. So it's like, you can call her what you like, but actually that girl's got like so much self-confidence, and so like she turned down the fact that fucking police officer detective, what a piece of shit. And like, again, she was in a position of like, he had a position of power, and she was just absolutely like, get your hand off my leg. And I loved her for that.
Detective Vaughn, please remove your hand from my thigh.
All right. Where would you like me to put it?
How about up your ass?
I thought she was absolutely brilliant. As soon as she got in the hot tub, though, I knew that was her scene.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah, she was done. It's always the hot tub. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I thought she was all right. And like you say, she was sort of like the girls were like making comments about her, like, oh, you've slept with half of San Francisco, whatever. And it's like, but she didn't like, she absolutely can, but she didn't give off the vibe that she did that, because every single guy that would like come up to her, she would be like, ew, no, gross. Like, she's obviously, just has standards, which is great.
Like, this was it. She was like, I will have sex when I want to have sex, but that's my decision. And I was like, I fucking love this girl. Like, like, it's, and the fact that she knew how to handle it as well when people were just like throwing around assumptions. But I love and I hate, because I hated the fact her friends were then throwing it in her face. And I think it was Dorothy who was like, you slept with guys and you don't even know their surnames. I'm just letting him in my house. And then didn't know his surname.
Excuse me, Paige, but there have been guys whose last names you didn't know that you let into your pants. I'm just letting this guy into my house. Well, you don't have to be bitchy.
Fine. So, while we're on the topic, Dorothy, what is Campbell's last name?
And I was like, fucking, oh my God. Like,
doesn't make sense.
One, you're supposed to be her friend. Like, don't throw shit in her face. If you have concerns, talk to her like a fucking friend. And two, you're just as bad. Like, letting him in your house is worse, or I would argue is worse than a one-night stand. Like,
definitely.
I'm just letting him in my house. You mean where all your private documents and valuables and your dad's money is? Because fucking crazy.
Yeah, did like Dorothy.
No. I think unfortunately, she just kind of grew up with a grudge.
Yes, she resented the girls like the entire time. So I think that was her problem. And also she wasn't a great actor. So
the acting was questionable, especially
the acting was questionable,
Like sometimes it was fine, other times you're like, oh God.
Some people's was okay. But talking of the girls, actually, Kate, the girl who plays Kate, did you recognize her?
I did, and I am blanking. So it was Marley Shelton, but where have we seen her?
We've seen her as Sheriff Hicks in Scream.
Scream, of course.
There she is.
Oh, amazing. There we go. See, she's a slasher queen.
She is. Absolutely, she is.
She's done lots of other stuff as well, but she's a slasher queen.
That's just where I recognize her from. But I think she's pretty well known. But I thought she was pretty good in this. Like, she did the final girl job pretty well. Yeah.
I think she had a hard job because it was that where it was like trying to choose between her friends, not choose between them, but trying to figure out like what was going on between her friends. And it was when even the detective was like, stay together, and they all split up because they kept arguing. But then again, it was Dorothy throwing it in her face. Was it Dorothy? Yeah. Who was like, you're just jealous because I found a guy as good as you. I was like, one, it's like, again, be happy for your friends. Clearly you guys need to stop being friends. But it was that, well, then she was like questioning everything she knew about her guy and her friend's guy. And I think it was a lot of, untrust, and I think she did it really well of like just being generally confused.
Yes. Yeah, she was with Angel, although obviously he plays Angel, but he's not Angel in this. But I just know him as Angel.
Adam Carr.
Adam Carr. Adam.
Adam, bloody hell, Adam. Like, was there any good men in this actually? I think every single, because even like the artsy one ended up being a piece of shit.
Yeah, he wasn't great. Actually, that's a good question. I honestly don't think there was.
No.
No, there wasn't. And but when it's revealed at the end that Dorothy's the killer, you kind of think, oh yay, Adam, but obviously not. So yeah.
They're all pieces. Even the neighbor who we met for 5 seconds was a piece of shit.
Yeah, when she was out in her towel.
Wow, this is really not a men's movie. And then the girls keep arguing. You're like, wow, this movie's not for anyone.
Yeah, this movie doesn't really have that likable of a cast.
No,
Who's the people?
Anyone want to survive? We don't care. Like, they're not likable.
Yeah, I actually think that was the thing. Like, I didn't think many of them, if any, were particularly likable. Like, I know we said those things about Paige, and I think like she was probably one of the only ones with the kind of like redeeming qualities, but I don't think many of the characters in this were particularly likable. And I think in a slasher, you do have to have some likable ones in there because you have to sort of stick with it and kind of want to root for the characters at the end. And I found that I wasn't really getting that with this film.
I think that's it. If anything had happened, well, when it happened to any of them, you didn't really care because you kind of saw it coming. It's a slasher, and then you were like, they were a dick. So
exactly.
It's really bad.
It's interesting. I was about to say Adam, sorry. Jamie Blanks, the director, he said that if he could go back and do it again, he would include a lot more humor in it, which I think would be quite a nice touch.
I was expecting more humor because, again, it's quite a slasher. And it did seem very dry. Like, again, at points I was like, this is going on quite a bit because there wasn't that humor break. So
yeah, it felt long, didn't it? I felt like it felt long.
It was only an hour and a half, and I was like, this feels long.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it did. It did, yeah. It's not the best slasher out there, we'll give it that. But
no.
Yeah. In terms of the kills, they were gorier than I thought they would be. I kind of wish Paige's one with the hot tub. I wanted him to like lock her in the hot tub, like he was originally going to do. And I thought initially he was going to turn the temperature up.
Oh, and good old Boil Alive.
Yeah. Well, because the reason I thought this was because didn't her younger self say, I'd rather be boiled alive?
I'd rather be boiled alive.
When
maybe.
When Jeremy comes up to her. So I was like, that would have been so clever.
Oh, maybe that's what he was trying to do though with like the electric, but it would have happened
maybe
like too quick to have been boiled.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it just didn't work. But that's what I was kind of hoping for.
I don't know if a hot tub can get hot enough to be boiled alive. Like,
sure, no.
So I feel like, you'd have to almost zap it to try and preheat it
that's
quicker.
true.
I don't know if that would work.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to do it in his own way. But
I didn't even catch that. Oh my God, right. I can't even remember what the others said. If that was, because there was the one, obviously our final girl who was like, oh, maybe later. So I guess
Kate.
Later he does get what he wants from her.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the others say. Now I'm really sad.
No, I think the cards are to do with what they said to Jeremy initially. I think that they have some sort of like bearing towards that. I think the Valentine cards.
Are we saying this film is clever? Clever's a strong word.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, maybe the hot tub wasn't the right place for it, but I think like maybe if Paige was in a sauna or something, like maybe they could have just like made that work. So that frustrated me, if I'm honest. I felt like that could have been gorier and a better, cleverer death.
That would, that would actually have been so good.
Yeah.
Also, because we wouldn't have seen it. Like, we've seen electricity in water, we've seen stabbings in water.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of boiling alive.
No. I mean, maybe I'm getting this wrong. Maybe they weren't that gory. I think they were probably standard slasher gore, were they? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think Lily, who was the other blonde mean girl, I think I quite like the because she gets arrowed arrowed to death. And that was quite, I guess that was quite a fun take on, the Valentine's theme.
Yeah,
That's kind of fun. So maybe none of them were particularly gory. So yeah, maybe that's what made it a bit slower.
maybe.
You're still shook by the page thing.
No, I'm actually having a look to see like what was said at the beginning, because I'm trying to see if there is any others. But then like I don't think anyone was like, I'd rather be shot by an arrow. Like that would have been too specific.
I'd rather be framed for the murder of.
I'd rather be thrown down the stairs and framed for a murder, and very specific.
Yeah, no, I think it was just Paige that said that.
Yeah,
I'm 99% sure she said that. So, yeah.
Anyway, no, I did quite like the deaths though, because I think again, I think they were just good fun slasher.
Yeah,
slasher deaths. I like there were like little creepy bits that weren't necessarily the deaths either, like the maggots in the chocolate, which I was like, oh, is that a Lost Boys thing? But apparently, it was inspired by a childhood incident involving Don Corsarelli, when he saw his father eating a candy bar in the dark, and all of a sudden he started spitting it out. It was just loads of ants.
Ugh.
So, reminder: if you're trying to be sneaky and eat your chocolate, just at least get a torch on it first to double check it's okay.
Yeah, gross. So I mean, talking about that ending, what did you make of it? What did you make of the plot twist? Because I know I have thoughts.
I was convinced it was Adam. I think the biggest thing wasn't even like he started drinking or anything. It was when he found her later and he said something, and I was like, that's creepy.
Dance with me.
Like, that's definitely you. And I can't remember what it was, but it was something.
Yeah.
I was like, that's definitely you trying to like, let her know almost. So when it turned out to be Dorothy, I was like, this feels like a framing, or I was expecting them to be working together. So again, maybe it was like she felt guilty, went to see him, was like, I'm so sorry for what I did. I'll help you kill the girls as revenge. Like, I kind of, because especially she was quite a bitch to her friends, and it was that whole like holding a grudge.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought that was going to happen. And then obviously he starts bleeding and we realized it was actually him and he's just framed her. So I did think that was quite clever, because you don't see a lot of that actually, where it's like the killer manages to get away with it, but everyone thinks it was someone else.
Yeah.
So I did quite like it. I thought it was, no effort, but worked. What about you? Did you like it or not?
No, I mean, not weirdly enough, when it was revealed firstly that it was Paige, that it was Dorothy, I kind of felt like, oh, that was one that I didn't guess. That's kind of different. And I kind of praised it for being slightly different. And then, so I was like, cool. And then it turned out to be the dude, fucking Angel, this entire time. I was kind of like, oh, okay. I thought maybe like, because I was fully expecting it, like you said, to either be Adam or just like one of the other dudes.
Yeah.
Because it's, it's a early naughty slasher, like it's not gonna particularly like surprise us, And so when it was revealed to be Dorothy, I was kind of like, oh, cool, this is different.
Yeah.
So I was kind of disappointed that it almost wasn't her, really, because at least that would have been something a bit different. I also questioned the whole Jeremy thing, because don't get me wrong, the girls were horrible to him. Like, I get it. Well, I don't get killing someone, but I get like why he was upset.
Yeah.
But actually, the boys were way worse to him. So why didn't he go on a killing rampage and kill all the boys instead?
Because the boys beat him up, whereas the girls use words. And this is the thing, is like, if boys don't take rejection, it ends in girls dying.
Yeah,
not every
okay,
time,
yeah.
but a lot of the time. And I think
Very
that was
true.
it. Like you say, it could have been that they went after the boys, but the boys could probably have fought back, whereas he saw the girls as the real
so
enemy
true.
because he could overpower them, as it were.
Oh God, that's so true.
And that was literally because I was watching it and I was like, this is really fucked up the way the girls are talking to him. And I was like, but what's worse is they're at an age where they're still learning that that's horrible and wrong and completely unnecessary. Like, just say no politely, as one of them managed to do. but also for him not to be able to take rejection. But also, again, I was like, why lie that he forced himself on you? Like, that was really fucked up. And I was like, but why was that even an option?
Yeah.
Like, what was so bad about him, and what was so, I don't know, it just seemed really...
Yeah, and that is awful. So,
Yeah.
you know, I get why he would be upset about that. I think it was just because like the boys stripped him and poured like fake blood over him. So yeah, but you
Very
make a really
Carrie.
good point. Very Carrie.
Yeah.
But you make a good point. I was like, why doesn't he go after the blokes? And you're right, because it's quote unquote easier to go after the girls, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many guys get angry at the girl? Like, oh, you chose another guy over me. Like, half the time the girl hasn't. They just want to be single because you're a pain in the ass. And it's like, oh, I bet there's another guy. And it's always that. And it's like, but then they're angry at the girl. Not. And it's like, for fuck's sake. Like,
yeah. But yeah, I was kind of generally sort of generally just a bit disappointed. And then like the ending didn't really help. I felt like it was kind of a bit of a nothing film, a bit of a nothing like cast as well, like characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, also when he was bleeding on Kate, like Kate definitely would have felt that.
Like, there was so much. Like, did she think he was like crying, but like sobbing? Like, that wasn't like a trickle. That was a shit ton of blood. Like, get him checked.
Yeah.
That is too much blood. Did any of them even realize, though, that the killer bled? Because they were all dead by the time he was doing that.
Yeah, I don't think they did. I think only us as the audience knew that.
So even if she saw him bleeding, like, she wouldn't have assumed, oh, you must be the killer.
No, it's just something that will know.
Will know. And she would have been like, oh, I look after you because you protected me. I love how I make it like taking the piss out of her, but like she literally doesn't know that he's the killer.
Yeah.
I will add quickly. So I did comment about the mask earlier being a little bit. Again, I think it was a bit lost on us that it was a Cupid thing.
Yes.
Like, I do generally wonder if that's more of a thing in America.
Yeah, I think for sure it is.
But apparently, the killer's mask was the result of a process we termed maskivation. Director Jamie Blank's inspiration was a book on famed painter Sandro Botticello. I cannot say names tonight. And he asked KMB-EFX, who we've come across before, to design the mask on his cherubs. It was almost canvas-like texture, which is a bit more visible on the Blu-ray. The script originally called for a Cupid mask.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say is the soundtrack was pretty fun. I heard a bit of Deftones in there, and a couple of others. So that was quite fun. It was like a sort of new metal, early naughty soundtrack, which is always quite fun to hear.
Yeah.
And that's always one of the best things about a slasher is when you can like hear the music as well and like the fashion and that's always really fun as well. So yeah, that was it, to be honest.
No, that's fine. And I'll say the only other two things I thought were really kind of worth mentioning was the trailer for the film is one of the few that has a female voiceover narrator. And when Rufy hits the Cupid killer with a pool cue, the stuntman nearly suffered a concussion because the cue wasn't built to break away.
Oh.
So shit
indeed.
Although apparently director Jamie Blanks has openly apologized for doing the film, but I don't know why. Like, does he think it's that bad, or is he like, I'm really sorry, it's offensive?
Well, it was like critically panned. Like everyone hated it. I think it's got like 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I think it's just one of those films where he's just like, I'm sorry, it's shit. I could have done better.
I tried. Like, this is the thing. It's not, as you say, it's not the world. Like, it's not terrible. It's just nothing. It's like
it's very much nothing.
Yeah, like it's not bad, but it's not anything to kind of be like, yeah, we have to watch it.
Yeah, you're completely bang on. Like that's what kind of annoyed me about it is that like if it was so stupid that it was bad, I'd probably have a bit more respect for it because I'd be kind of like, yeah, fuck it. Like me and Tel will watch it over a bottle of moonshine one night and laugh at it. But this isn't even kind of like fun to me. I can think of so many more films that me and you could sit and watch.
Yeah,
that I would enjoy more, kind of thing. So yeah, this annoys me more because it literally is giving nothing.
I love the idea that if you're directing or writing a film and it's not working, just make it the worst thing ever, and it will get more popularity and more of a cult following than if you try and make it somewhat serious and it's just a bit nothing.
Especially if it's a horror.
Because if you make it a weird cult following, you'll get a weird cult following for the next 40 fucking years.
Precisely.
Film school with Tell and Katie. But do we think you would survive the babyface killer, Valentine, whatever we're calling him, Cupid, full Monty, striptease guy?
Would I survive? Don't know. I mean, most of the girls do die in this. Especially in fucking Dorothy's house. It seems to be an insane amount of rooms and doors and different the location.
How big was that fucking house? And and the point that they just added in that she was terrible to her maids and her stepmom. Like, there was all of these girls had so much drama. Like,
yeah. And also, like, the maid was really clever and was like saying to Dorothy, like, basically, why the fuck is this guy staying in your house? And like, she was the only like smart one, and she died. So I'm thinking, like, no, like, I mean, to be honest, like, maybe probably not in a slasher. I think killers always get you somehow. So as much as I did dislike this film, I probably wouldn't survive. What about you?
So I was gonna say yes, for the basic reason that if you and I are at a house party and we don't need to be told to stick together, we're going to be together. Like, you and I are not going to wander off. You wouldn't find one of us in a hot tub on our own. We would be together drunk. So we might be easy to kill because we're drunk and useless, or we're going to be laughing at the baby face and be really confused. But you're not really going to get us alone because you and I are like this.
Yeah, true.
Like,
so they're going to have to fight two of us.
Yeah. It's always that way. It's like there's a killer on the loose, and like, don't lose your buddy. And you and me are like, not a problem. Like,
yeah, that's fine. Wherever the moonshine is, or the rum,
it's like, you'll find us at the bar with all these bottles I can throw at a person. Like,
yeah, that's true. That's very true. If we're going by slasher rules, then we would, do the opposite, and we would be together.
We lose each other at a party. We're like, where are you?
Come back.
Why don't leave me?
Okay, yeah, I like that. So you would survive because we'd both survive.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, like, I could see that happening. They'd have to fight both of us, and there is only one killer. This isn't like Scream where you're fucked because we didn't realize there was a second one.
Yeah, that's true.
And
how the grand question, the final question: how many spookies are we giving Valentine? And what is your favorite spooky moment of the film?
I'm only laughing so much because you literally text me earlier, like, threatening me that I couldn't give this more than I gave Longlegs. And that cracked me up in the middle of the workday, and I just started laughing. My favorite spooky moment is probably going to be the opening with Katherine Heigl, that part of the opening, because, as I said, I actually did really like it when the corpse started to breathe. Despite the fact that we're now looking at the legalities and the logistics of this and it wouldn't work, I still thought that was quite funny. So I'm going to go with that bit. I think I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5. As we said, it's a bit of a nothing film. I think it deserves like a 1 because, again, I really liked that. I really liked the cards, and I'll give some credit for the kills. Like, they were a little bit, I mean, one of them got killed with a gun, which is so nothing in a horror.
Yeah.
But I think, it was, they were trying to be a bit spooky. So I'll give it a 1 for effort. It feels like a participation certificate at this point.
Even though you came last, you can have a star.
Literally, like, you made a movie. Good job. You've done better than I ever have. Yeah. What about yourself?
Well, can I ask you a question? Are you only giving it a 1 because I said you must not give this more than Longlegs?
No, it didn't.
Or would you have given it higher had I not threatened you? You have to be honest now on here. Come on.
This is the thing, because again,
I won't leave the podcast.
She generally I'll pop a picture of the text. She generally threatened to leave the podcast. Just me on my own with no friends. I generally don't know, because again, it wasn't that good of a film, but I think that's the thing. I didn't expect it to be, whereas like Longlegs, I really thought was going to be good, and I was severely disappointed. So I think that was kind of why Yeah, so I don't know.
So they're ones for different reasons, kind of thing.
Yeah, like I think Longlegs I gave 1.5.
Okay, yeah.
I think, but yeah, I think they're ones for different reasons because
cool.
One I expected shit. The other I didn't know. This was also made on like a tiny budget. Longlegs had a shit ton of money, and quite frankly, I think wasted some of it. I'm putting it out there. I just wanted a bit more. Okay. A bit more and a bit less, depending on which part you're talking about. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting now because we've already talked about Longlegs. What about yourself?
Spooky moment. I found this one a bit hard, to be honest. I'm actually going to say, like, it's a bit of a lame kill, but I'm going to say the crossbows because it was quite Valentine's-y. It's kind of like Cupid shooting the crossbows. I thought that was kind of fun and slashery. So I thought it wasn't the most sort of like violent one, but it kind of just worked for the film.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it a 1. It really just gave nothing, but I like the soundtrack. And
one for the music that the film did
one
not
for the
write.
music. Yes. And I think that's pretty much it. There's not really anything else I can give it a score for.
We have to really dislike a film to give it less than 1, don't we?
Yes.
Like that's the thing. We don't dislike this film. We just don't feel anything for this film.
Yes.
I think that's almost worse.
And that's worse.
At least if we hate a film, there's passion.
Yeah.
More energy.
Exactly. There's more passion. You kind of think, oh, we're going to watch it again. Whereas this is just, go on, girl, give us nothing. Woo!
Yay! Shakti. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Yes.
But that was our Valentine episode. So even if we haven't made you feel romantic, at least hopefully we gave you a good laugh. So join us again next week for another spooky movie, which I think more people will have seen. So do check it out on the socials of what we're going to be covering, and you can follow along with us. Until then, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff that feeds our egos. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't die. Well, the big Cupid baby's gonna get you.
Yeah.